Most organizations have rules and/or regulations they're required to follow. Working in the IT or cyber field, there are additional standards, directives, and/or frameworks requiring compliance. The varying set of guidelines and rules serve many purposes, including improving process efficiencies and security posture, as well as reducing risk of certain threats. The rules and guidance an organization follows depends on the industry it's part of and the type of information it works with. Consequences for non-compliance can range from a stern reprimand to catastrophic financial loss to incarceration, depending on the type of rules and the scope of impact. There are regulatory, meaning an organization is required to abide or be in compliance with, and non-regulatory, which are recommendations and best practices that may be enforced within an organization, such as a password policy, but not enforced by law externally. There are industry standard frameworks, which are high-level blueprints outlining accepted practices to build a strong operational foundation, and security-specific frameworks detailing methods for developing policies and procedures focused on securing, operating, managing, and maintaining information systems. There are several established security frameworks that are commonly accepted by the community as sound best practices. The ISO IEC 2700 series, NIST SP 800 series, and COBIT. The ISO IEC 2700, or International Organization for Standardization, Electrotechnical Commission, series is a group of documents detailing recommendations for securing information systems and managing risk through security controls. NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, SP 800 series, is a large collection of security publications on information security standards and best practices. The COBIT, or Control Objectives for Information and Related Technologies, framework is used to help management align business goals with information technology and better manage risk. One of the main goals of frameworks is to establish a common way for describing industry practices using common terminology, enabling organizations to adopt and adapt as needed to support its own business needs. TOGAF, the Open Group Architecture Framework, is an enterprise software development framework that applies a systematic approach to the development to help reduce errors and produce timely, quality results. IDLE, the Information Technology Infrastructure Library, is literally a library of open source information that advocates IT services aligned to the needs of the business and supports its core processes. It guides how information is stored, maintained, the change procedures, and overall administration of IT. SABSA, the Sherwood Applied Business Security Architecture, is an open standard with several frameworks, models, methods, and processes. It is an overarching framework enabling other existing standards to be integrated, bringing together several models for an end-to-end solution in one compliance framework. Industry-specific frameworks narrow the focus to specific domains. Industries, such as healthcare and transportation, have their own set of rules and regulations to adhere to. Organizations may leverage an industry-specific framework in addition to security frameworks like NIST or ISO. Frameworks also guide compliance with rules and regulations, nationally and internationally. Industry-specific laws and regulations require compliance, and failure to do so can result in fines and/or criminal penalties. Regulations can be very broad, like the PCI DSS, or Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, which dictate properly handling customer payment cards, or HIPAA, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, which protects the privacy and medical history of patients. It's important that everyone in an organization understands what standards and regulations require compliance. Most times, processes and procedures are in place to aid in following proper protocols, and the frameworks that are adopted and adapted for managing and governing security can be supported by creating a reference architecture visually displaying how the technical components work together to prevent, detect, and respond to threats. Non-regulatory frameworks and regulations required by law, while having very different consequences if not adhered to, are equally important for supporting an organization's business goals and needs.